That didn't take long. Mike Williams gets thrown under the bus. The very next day, Davante Adams is in the building. What's next for the New York Jets?
Jets, Jets, Jets!
Okay, so as soon as you hear the new... What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? Well!
Here he is.
Hey! Good to see you, Tay. Good to see you, man. Congrats.
What's up, fellas? Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, so that was Davante Adams showing up for the Pat McAfee Show interview for Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. I got a feeling, right after last night's game, Rodgers shot him a text, said, hey, dude, get on the next flight out to New York. You are coming to the Jets. We're getting this done tomorrow because I'm sick of people running the wrong routes, doing the wrong things, and whatnot. Now, let's get into the Davante Adams trade first, and then I want to talk a little bit about the Mike Williams situation and how that all played out. This was not very good. But according to the trade, we heard it was a conditional third that could go to a second-round pick. We did find out what that condition was. It has to be one of the following things. Either Adams is a first- or second-team All-Pro, which means he's going to have to ball out for the Jets to really get the benefit of that. He's already missed a few games. It's going to be kind of tough, but maybe it happens. Hope it happens. Or on the active roster for an AFC Championship game or a Super Bowl, which means we could cut him in the playoffs and save a second-round pick. No, look, if the Jets make it to the championship game, that means the Jets' second-round pick is going to be pick what is that math? 60? It's going to be like the 60th pick in the draft is the highest pick that the Jets are going to possibly give up for Davante Adams, and I am all about that. Look, this is something that probably should have been done a few weeks ago. We did not see this, before the Broncos game. We did not see it before the Vikings game. We didn't even see it before the Bills game, like the biggest game of the season. I don't understand why this wasn't done before then. I feel like if I were the Jets, I would have tried to push that conditional second-round pick earlier, and now maybe the Raiders felt compelled. They had to unload Adams now because the Jets, if we lose to the Steelers this upcoming week, might totally be out of this conversation altogether. So I do feel like it's a little frustrating. Now, this is coming right off the heels of a press conference Aaron Rodgers gave after the game where he threw Mike Williams right under the bus.
Can you go over that pass to Mike Williams, the last one that was picked off?
Yeah. What about it?
What specifically did you see on the throw? How would you throw out?
There's two verticals, Allen's down the seam, Mike's down the red line. So I'm looking at Allen. He puts his hand up. Three guys go with him. So I'm throwing a no-look to the red line. And when I just peek my eyes back there, he's running an inbreaker. So it's got to be down the red line.
So were you throwing that spot to come back to it?
No, I was throwing it to the red line. But when I got to about here, I realized he was running an inbreaker. So I had to kind of adjust it a little bit. But the play is two guys vertical, one guy down the seam, one guy on the red line.
In my opinion, you can't have it both ways. The Jets have been screaming for accountability. Fans have been screaming for accountability. The defense has been screaming for accountability. And Aaron Rodgers calling out Mike Williams, while you might be frustrated with the approach of it, this was absolutely what accountability looks like. Mike Williams, you run the right route. You do what you're supposed to do. Aaron Rodgers doesn't call you out. That's flat out what it is. Aaron Rodgers came out last week and said, look, I did not have my best game. 3 interceptions. That's uncharacteristic. I just learned that I threw 2 interceptions in the first quarter for the first time in my career. Rodgers has taken accountability. This is him holding him accountable. I think the defense probably appreciates that. And look, the defense didn't really have a great showing either, but I think it's on the offense, at least for right now, given what the defense has put up the rest of the season, to take a little bit more ownership of this accountability. As far as what this means for Mike Williams now that Davante Adams is here, I do not expect to see Mike Williams on the field a whole heck of a lot, and I think the Jets are probably going to try and offload him. I'm actually surprised he didn't wind up going back to the Raiders in this Davante Adams trade, but look, maybe they could figure it out and they get on the same page. Mike Williams has been more on the same page with Aaron Rodgers through the first 4 weeks of the season, and then the Raiders or the Vikings game is when Garrett Wilson finally started to click. But I'm just really excited. I don't even know, this is Davante Adams even allowed to wear 17 now that Corley's got it and it's in season? I don't think that can really happen. So I'm curious to see what number he ultimately ends up picking and wearing. Mike Williams probably seeing a little bit more reserve action. I think Rodgers is going to want to lean more on Lazard. Even though Lazard's had his drops and issues like that, I think I'd rather see the chemistry between Lazard, Adams, Garrett, and then have Breece and Allen in the backfield. Honestly, the tight ends, I don't even really want to see them on the field all that frequently. I think the blocking is just better from the running backs in general on a consistent basis. And now getting Morgan Moses back in the field, maybe we see a little bit more running to the right-hand side. It did seem like that was opened up a little bit yesterday. as far as Davante Adams, what the cap figures kind of mean and what it looks like. Now, he did restructure his contract. I don't actually know. Did they actually update this? I'm going to do a little bit of live searching in real time to see if this contract is up to date. I know they did restructure it. All right, so it's not reported on over the cap just yet. He had a $16 million, $17.5 million cap hit this year, which is roughly $1 million per game. So if you subtract that, Jets owe like $11.5 million for Davante Adams. But if he did, in fact, restructure, they could drop his base salary really low, make it a signing bonus, spread it over the next 2 years. And then, according to Rappaport, they did not touch 2025 and 2026 yet. So other than just maybe adding some additional dead cap in those years, they're probably going to wait and see what happens with Rodgers. If the Jets completely stink, Rodgers decides to hang it up and retire, Adams is probably going to hit free agency next year because the Jets will wind up cutting him at the end of the season. But if Rodgers winds up working out and Jets go to the playoffs, everything's all hunky-dory, then Adams is going to restructure his contract. He's going to be on the Jets for next year as well. So overall, look, wish this trade happened 3 weeks ago, or at the very least before this past game. I don't know. I think the Jets may have dropped the ball a little bit on this, but it's still a young season and a lot of things can happen. The AFC isn't totally running away from us. This game's big for wild card implications. If you assume the Jets aren't going to be able to catch the Bills, Jets have to win against the Steelers. This is just starting to pile on fast. Guys, let me know your thoughts on the Davante Adams trade. What do you think about Mike Williams? Do you think Rodgers went too hard on the wide receiver? Do you think Mike Williams gets traded? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.